Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, the college basketball coaches show, powered by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor here. It is a hot one in Akron, Ohio. We got another hot episode with a guy known as Mr. Intensity. But as we get to Mr. Intensity from his fellow cohorts, which I believe is a compliment as a former collegiate coach, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, follow us on all our Instagram handles, Twitter, Substack, all this stuff. We've got, is this probably our favorite coach in New Mexico, Sam?
Right now it is, right?
Yeah. Coach Hooten. We got New Mexico State Aggies. I love the Aggies. Coach Hooten, welcome to the Full Court Press.
Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah,
it's a nice, hot, warm day here too.
Oh my God, it's funny. It's a nice. That's not really your backdrop in your office, is it?
It is actually our campus. Yeah, that is our campus. This place is my office. Overlooks the Oregon mountains, and it's a beautiful scene. The great thing about our weather, if you haven't been out this way a lot, is that we have no humidity. So when it's 100 degrees, it is just 100 degrees. Whereas where I came from in Texas, you have 100 degrees and you have the humidity. So it's beautiful here. In the evenings, it cools down no matter what. Unlike like Vegas and Arizona, where at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, it's still 100 degrees here. I actually hopped in the pool last night, and it was actually a little chilly at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. So in the mornings and in the evenings, it cools off a little bit, but it is nice and warm during the days for sure.
So is that the real reason why you left Sam Houston State, was the humidity?
I don't know. My wife definitely enjoys, I think her hair does a lot better in the dry heat, she says, other than the humidity. But no, that's probably not. Although I did just get back from there. Last week, I got my house sold after 2 years on the market, and I had to do a little bit of work on the outside of it. And believe me, that humidity was it was awful strong there for that week.
Good reminder for sure.
Yeah. But Sam, think about. He said it took a couple years to sell his house. Just think about if you made a Sweet 16 this year, you would have sold it like that. The house of Coach Hooten.
Yeah, I don't know if it works that way, but we had a unique situation. So my wife was a high school coach in a town about 30 miles north of Huntsville, and we just were really blessed, and we found a piece of land that was actually 15 miles from my gym and 15 miles from her gym. And so we built a house there on about 8 or 9 acres, and it was on a dirt road. So it was a hard sell. It was a really nice place. And it just had to take the right family to come along. And luckily, after 2 years, we found the lucky winner.
Yeah.
Congratulations. They are lucky. That's for sure. So I want to rewind to a couple of years ago, your transition from Sam Houston to New Mexico State, right? I mean, obviously, our audience knows what happened at New Mexico State during the 22-23 season. What was appealing to kind of transition from 19 years at Sam Houston State to kind of take over this rebuild process?
Yeah, Sam, I think out of all the podcasts and interviews I've done, I don't know if anyone's ever eloquently put it together like that. I just knew the history here. There's always been just from Coach Henson to, just all the great coaches that have been here and the great basketball teams. And I just think the one thing that always was known about New Mexico State was they really were serious and they really cared about basketball. Mm-hmm. And not a knock on anyone else. I just wanted to look and see what that felt like
Right.
on another level maybe. And I feel like this is a place where you can get a lot done. You can get to the NCAA tournament. It's been done quite a bit here. And then also, the crowds here are pretty amazing. I mean, to be able to play in front of 6, 7, 8,000 people on a regular basis, night in and night out. I mean, it's a great feeling. And I think all those things just kind of combine together. And I think my family was really just ready for the challenge and the move as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam and I saw it firsthand. You always hear about like and not a knock on New Mexico State, but like we follow the Mountain West. Obviously we follow Conference USA and what have we follow all college basketball. But, we were out the Mountain West Conference tournament. And I will tell you about New Mexico fans, and this is also a compliment to New Mexico State. New Mexico people are passionate about their college sports because, what people don't understand is that's their pro sports. And I watched the New Mexico State, New Mexico basketball games. I knew Jimmy Collins. You want to talk about a name? He was an All-American in the 70s for Coach Henson. And I actually know and played with and know Coach Henson's grandson, Anthony Coombs. So I know the history of New Mexico State. And when Lauren said, absolutely love to be on the show, I got really excited because like, I understand why you took this position. It's no slight on Sam Houston State or anywhere else. But like, if you win at New Mexico State, it's like next level.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jimmy Collins, we were really blessed when we got here to get to know Miss Henson really well. And her daughter, Lori, who lives here in Las Cruces still, and in fact lives in Coach Henson's home. And we got to we really are close with them now. And it's interesting visiting with Lori, getting to see, Coach has basically like a Hall of Fame room at their house there. And to be in that room and to look around in there, I mean, it's amazing. But she mentioned, Jimmy Collins was always one of Coach's favorite players of all time, not just as a player, but as a man, as a person. He spoke so highly of Jimmy Collins, and it's interesting that you said that. I know
Coach C, man, that's my guy. So he was. So I was at UIC, and the whole coaching staff was Illinois. So it was Coach Collins was the head coach. Coach Nagy, you might know his son Scott.
Yes,
we've had him on the show.
Great coach,
Dick Nagy. Coach Coombs. That was actually Coach Henson's former son-in-law. So I don't know which daughter he was married to. I don't know, but Anthony was his son, who was our point guard. And then Coach Cross was a walk-on at Illinois. So it was all like Henson disciples. And they all coached with Coach Henson for years.
Yeah, I remember one of the first practices we had, and I was standing on the court in the Pan Am, and I looked down, and I was standing on the Lou Henson, basketball court logo, and I'm like, my God, this is surreal, to be in this position like I'm in. But look, I mean, it's a different job. I mean, it's a different time. It's a different job. The rebuild was real. It was probably tougher than I even anticipated and imagined. And we were getting it from all views and all angles. But I'm really proud of where we're standing right now and what we've done in a short period of time. I thought our team was really, really competitive this past season, finished in the top 4 in the league and arguably one of the top 10 leagues in the country. And, I think the future is bright. I think we're back to, everybody being excited about hopefully winning a championship and heading in that direction.
Yeah. Sam, what he doesn't realize, he has to rebuild every year with the current college basketball landscape.
Well,
every other coach. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to get after here because it's like, I mean, you did have a great year, I mean, you guys were, I mean, I look at road records all the time. I mean, you guys were 6-3 in Conference USA road records in a really good league. You had one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best defense, first in field goal defense and second in points allowed per game, like just a really blue collar mentality coming out of New Mexico State. How do you keep that identity year after year with what's going on with college basketball?
Yeah, that part, Sam's that's going to be real hard. That takes a lot out of a coach. It's kind of been my trademark as a coach in my career. And in 15 years, we've kind of been known for being pretty good defensively year in and year out. And I think a lot of that is just a mentality. It's a culture that we try to build. You're right, though, trying to sustain that with 10 new, we got 10 new guys this year. And I remember last year we had 10, and it was probably about July, and we were sitting in there and we were going through some defensive stuff. And I remember whispering to myself, my God, this is going to continue to get harder and harder and harder every year, having to reteach 10 new people every single one of your basic fundamental defensive drills. And, you got to love it. I mean, it's got to be a passion. It's got to be something that's driving you, because it's going to be really, really hard. And, we're going to have to do it again here starting next week. And, it's interesting, to say the least.
Well, Coach, if it makes you feel any better, you're the only college basketball coach that's going through it right now. So I really feel sorry for you. Well, the best is, we knew it was crazy. So last September, October, we interviewed Fran Dunphy, who is retired at LaSalle. And we said, we want to talk about the offseason. We want to talk about your roster. And he says, hold on a second. And no one's ever told us to really hold on between in an interview and stuff. And he turns around, he comes back, he has his card. He's like, let me check my roster card. I have no clue who's on my team.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking at a Hall of Famer type of coach like him.
Oh.
So those are times that, I think we're all getting into, and we have no idea really what it looks like, what the future looks like. And even if any of this is sustainable, who knows if this is going to be sustainable. I know, this past week where the judge finally voted it, the stuff to go forward will change, I think, a little bit and make things clearer for us all. But it's just going to be different. I remember Coach Mudge and I, when the portal first started, I believe it was like 22. And there wasn't a lot of money going back and forth with NIL yet, but it was still a portal and guys were leaving. I remember sitting down and telling him, listen, no matter what we do, we've got to try to bring 5 or 6 guys back every year. Just try to sustain this thing and keep it going. We've got to have 5 or 6 back. And now I look up and I'm gone 2 straight years now with bringing 3 back. And really with us this year, it wasn't us losing our guys to anyone. It was us graduating. I mean, we had 6 or 7 guys that their eligibility was finished.
Wait, Coach, you actually graduated players? That's unheard of nowadays.
Yeah, no, we do a great job. We have a tremendous academic support system here. And, I've been blessed in my 15 years as a college coach. Every guy that's gone through our program has graduated but one. And so it's something that I take a lot of pride in. I want to be in the top 10% in our APR every year. And, we're going in the right direction. When I took over, it needed some work for sure, but we got it fixed, I think. And I'm proud of what we're doing academically right now.
Yeah.
So
Coach,
go ahead, Tim.
No, you go ahead. Ladies first.
Walk me through that, the New Mexico State pitch. Recruiting's changing, right now.
Dude, you don't have any more eligibility, man. You're old.
I know, but I want to hear it. You already told us about the great weather that's there, the great academic resources. But, you're not getting guys on campus for like weekend visits anymore now. It's all like, hey, you've got this kind of 30 to 45, 60-day window to pull guys from the portal, or is it high school? I mean, what is your kind of philosophy in finding the right pieces? And you can focus on what you've done the past 90 days, specifically for the roster you put together for next season.
Yeah, I still think, we all know, we can't sit here and I know you guys aren't going to do this either. We can't sit here and kid each other anymore about NIL. We know that you've got to have money, and you're going to have a certain amount of money in order to get involved with a certain amount or a certain type of player. But I still think you have to be who you are. And I still think kids, at the end of the day, they want to go play for a coach that matches what they're looking for, whether that's, the next level, or being an everyday person, or their academics, or just, becoming a better man or a man. I think all of those things, you still have to be who you are. And, our culture to me is extremely important. We want to go after the certain type of player, a player that I've always recruited in my career. And, And I think that's important. I don't think you can get away from that. I know the money thing is important now. And but the other big sell at this place is we've already talked about, but it's the fans. It's the crowds, and you can't go anywhere in town like without somebody not knowing that you're the coach or that you're a player on the team. And I think Luke said this. He said this right before he was talking about Coach Henson and Jimmy. Listen, when you want to talk about pride, I've never in my entire life have I never, ever, ever seen anyone more prideful in their basketball than these people here at New Mexico State and Las Cruces, and the state of New Mexico in general. Because Luke said it right. I mean, we don't have professional teams.
No.
New Mexico and New Mexico State is Duke and North Carolina, and in this state. And so, our game last year at New Mexico, I mean, there's 16,000 people there. You're playing a mid-major basketball game in front of 16,000 people. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And luckily, we've got them coming back over to us this year. So hopefully we'll be able to return the favor and put, this place holds over 13,000, and hopefully we'll put 13 or 14. I'm pretty confident that we'll have 13 or 14,000.
You'll have Pan Am filled for sure.
It will. It will be.
I want to talk about that a little bit. So how difficult with the ever changing or evolving college basketball landscape, that's how I like to put it poetically and nicely and no swear words, which, let's be honest, it's a shit show, but that's just my opinion. How difficult has non-conference scheduling been? Especially getting good games to come to you. I just feel the way the matrix of the NCAA tournament is favoring, the Power 5 conferences playing Power 5 teams and maybe not playing in New Mexico State like they would have 10 years ago.
Yeah, man, you guys are really good at what you do, and I think you guys do a lot of homework, because I was just talking to a scheduling person today about the same exact thing that you just brought up. It is right now, it's June the 12th, and we've got 2 games scheduled other than our 20 conference games. So right now I need, let's see, that's 22. I need 9 more games right now. And the hard thing is going to be the high major games, that the Power 5 games that we used to get, because I think now what they're doing is, instead of playing a really, really good mid-major, they're going to go play each other on neutral floors, or they're going to go get the 250 plus net teams that they can try to beat by 40 or 50. And I think that's where we're headed, in the direction that we're going. I've just got to be patient and hang in there till hopefully towards the end of the summer and we can catch a few. But right now it's been really, really tough. And I think we're going to have to start playing a lot of home and homes with good mid-major teams, and we're going to have to go to tournaments and play neutral site games. And because I just, in schools like us, we can maybe buy a game, but we can't buy.
No, you can't buy.
5 games. And so it's going to be hard. I do think that is the next step, Luke. And I think right now, personally, we're looking at, maybe it's probably not good to talk about this on the no
one listens, no one watches, so you're fine.
I just think we're starting to see some separation here. And I think
it's been happening for a while, Coach. It's just more noticeable.
So I just starting to feel that a little bit more the last year or so than I have, the last 5. Like you said, it's been noticeable, but really a lot more of that feeling now. And I think a lot of it comes from the money part, whether we need to bring a little money in here or we need to bring a little money in for something else. And, I just don't know now if that's going to be as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, I think you have to be really creative now with scheduling, especially obviously out of conference scheduling. The one thing that I really liked, remember Coach Todd at Toledo, Sam was telling us what he always does is he does home and home series, and he'll always travel first. And usually he said that always gets the team to play us, because now they have a home game first instead of a home game second. And actually it's really kind of creative, and it's got him some good games. But, I'm sick of seeing these Power 5 teams like promoting their exhibition games with another Power 5, or with a team like, for instance, DePaul is playing Loyola. They won't play him during the season, but now they're doing an exhibition game. It's like, really? Like, come on.
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's funny, like our last year at Sam Houston, Mudge and I laugh about this all the time, but we were having such a hard time getting a schedule, and I kind of got perturbed at the end of the summer. And I didn't think about, I wasn't thinking about leaving. I was going to be there the rest of my life, but we took about 2 or 3 games and we just started on the road. And we ended up having an unbelievable team, and we won every single of those road games that we started. And I left, and then Mudge got the job, and then he had 3 built-in home games that first year, And I was like, hey, man, you need to send me part of your paycheck for me helping you lock in those 3 easy not easy, they weren't easy games, but it's hard to get home games.
Yeah.
And like you said, starting on the road most of the time will guarantee you at least a home game the next year, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think that you just have to be creative in a lot of things. Creative how you recruit kids. You have to be creative in NIL. I love when the salary cap's $20 million, Sam. It's like, all right, that's only going to benefit like 30 to 40 to 50 schools.
That's right.
What's going to happen to teams like you, Florida International, Sam Houston State, Akron, Toledo? They're not Duquesne. They're not going to be able to flip it. So, but
no, you're right.
Sam, you think he's ready? Let's get him going. I got some really good questions.
So, Coach, we got a little thing called the shot clock. LT is going to fire off like 5 or 6 questions. Hopefully, they're pretty easy. Maybe one-word answers, maybe short stories, but regardless, the platform is going to be yours.
All right. We got first one. Okay. This is real simple, Coach. Who has better food in either their arena or cafeteria, Sam Houston State or New Mexico State?
So I've never eaten the food in either arena.
You need to live, Coach.
But cafeteria, I have, and I'm going to have to say Sam Houston State.
Oh, don't eat a meal next time at the cafeteria. They might try to poison you, Coach, with that answer.
The cafeteria food at Sam Houston but I will say this, it was brand new. They had just started a brand new cafeteria like it was that first year. Yeah. So that was the only fair thing.
Okay.
But I will say this before you ask another question. The food in Las Cruces, New Mexico, as good a food as I've ever had in my life.
Okay.
Hands down.
Okay. I believe
That's why y'all need to come out and visit.
Absolutely.
Okay. You never know. Sam keeps promising he's going to take me all these places, but he never does.
Come on. Y'all got to come out. Y'all have to come out.
Top 3 most animated coaches on the sidelines.
Yourself excluded.
I think some people would include him, but okay.
Yeah.
Do they have to still be coaching?
No.
Number 1 in my book is my mentor and who I call the GOAT is a guy named Lon Reisman.
Yep.
He coached me at Tarleton State, and he's won over 700 games, Hall of Famer, got a football stadium named after him.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
that's impressive.
Yeah. And I would have to guess, just from what my wife tells me and all of my family members, that I'm pretty much just him 2.0 on the sidelines. So I would guess I probably got a lot of that animation from him.
And other coaches also too in your conference have said that also.
Yeah. Probably the next person I would put on that list would be, I don't know. Who's animated?
I think everybody's really subdued nowadays. Well, Coach,
is there anybody you look at like when you're looking down the sideline and you're just shake your head in a good way, but kind of like, come on.
You know who's pretty animated is Petway.
Yeah.
Oh.
Petway at Kennesaw is pretty animated.
Yeah. He's an Alabama guy. So actually, this will go. That's a good one. So this will go into our next question. Which team in the Conference USA last year fouled the most?
Got called for the most fouls?
Called the most fouls. Okay. Yes, I will say that.
That could be a different answer,
Probably us.
Second. You were second at 18.5.
First, UTEP.
No, Kennesaw State, 18.7.
Wow.
Guess which team got called the least for fouls in CUSA?
Who works the refs the best?
Liberty.
Liberty, Liberty, Liberty. 13.5.
Wow, yep, correct, Coach.
Yeah. You might want to ask Coach McKay how he does it, because I mean that's a lot less fouls.
They're good defensively, which is it's kind of interesting how you weigh those two things together, but they're so good defensively and yet they don't foul.
Yeah, and Zach Cleveland's going to be there for another 20 years. He'll be the Evan Eschmeyer of Northwestern.
I swear, when I saw something, they put out a tweet like "Who's back?" and it had him on there, and I'm like, "There's no way that guy's got another year left."
Yeah,
no way.
The NCAA granted him a 17th year.
He's so good and so hard to guard. And
I know.
God, he makes their offense go. He's a good player.
He's a ball player. So let me ask you this: 2 more quick questions. Give me your funniest recruiting story.
Oh man, funniest recruiting story. I don't know if this is the funniest recruiting story or not. This is the only thing that came to my mind. There was a guy I was recruiting one time as an assistant coach at Sam Houston, and I figured out that he was really, really close to his girlfriend. And I also figured out that she played volleyball, and I found a way to get her phone number by calling the volleyball coach at the school she played volleyball at. I got her phone number, got a hold of her somehow, some way. I asked her where she was going to go to college at, because they were both in junior college. I asked her where she was going to go, and she had it down to 2 schools, and one of them was ours, and the other one was a school an hour and a half away from us. And she ended up at the one an hour and a half away, and we ended up getting him signed.
All right.
Did they ever get married?
They are married, and they have about 3 kids.
No way.
He's a chiropractor. She's a nutritionist, and he's got the white picket fence.
Love it. They needed that separation,
Unbelievable.
Yes, that's impressive. So last question, then Sam will finish you up. So they're doing a Hollywood movie about your life. Okay. What would the title of the movie be? Who would play you in the movie? And what would be the theme song?
You guys are ridiculous. God, what would the movie be? I'm not a movie person, and I'm just kind of a plain guy. So I don't know what the movie would be.
Let's start with the actor. Is there an actor that you think would kind of take on your persona? All right.
I'll ask him.
What's the guy's name that I don't know actors very well. My wife was. How about the guy that played in what was the football movie?
Rudy?
No, it was a football movie, and he gave that fiery speech in the locker room.
Al Pacino?
Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Was it Al Pacino that played it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Had his hair slicked back.
Every given Sunday.
That was Pacino. Do you give some fiery pep talks like pregame and halftime?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes. Not too fiery, but not too long.
Right.
not too bad.
Coach, there's a little thing called Netflix. I want you to spend some free
we have
time.
it at our house, but hey, listen, I watch the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
And that's it. Film. I watch the Texas Rangers if the Texas Rangers aren't on. And then I watch the NBA. I turned the game on last night with 5 minutes to go.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the last 5 minutes.
New Mexico State has a former player, Spicy P, right? Playing in the finals. Has that been
I've watched more playoff basketball game because of him than I have in the last 10 years.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, I'm just, as I look at your resume, it's just incredibly impressive that, you've been coaching for over 30 years and this is only your 3rd school. Like we talked to
calling the old coach.
We talk to hundreds of coaches and we see them move all the time, and I kind of want to know, Is that something you had in the back of your mind when you got into coaching, and that kind of loyalty piece? I see that. I think of loyalty right off the bat, and it means a lot. And so can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
It's interesting. Like, I remember when I met my wife and, we were getting serious and talking about, the next stage or whatever. And I remember talking to her and just saying, listen, when you commit, I have no idea where this thing is going to go. Like, you're going to be a college coach and I could live in 20 different states. And, and then I look back and, she was like, I'm going to sign up for it no matter what. And then, we look back and we're just different than any coach and wife probably out there, because we've been blessed to only live in 3 places. And one of the places is the place that we went to college and the place we met, and that's at Tarleton. And we were there, I was there 11 years, and, 4 or 5 of those were with her and married. And, and then we got to Sam Houston, and, we all know how hard it is to become a head coach. But I remember Bob Marlin telling me, look, if you can come here and help me continue to get players like you did at Tarleton, then you're going to have an opportunity at the end of the day to be the head coach here. And, it just worked out. I owe a lot to him for putting me in that situation. And then it's just, it was just a good place, man. Great people, great place. And, I'm just a loyal, probably if you talked about that movie, I would guess it'd be something about loyalty, because I'm just a real loyal person. And, I just wanted to stay there. I wanted to stay at Tarleton until I felt like I had to go. And, my last 2 or 3 years as an assistant at Tarleton, we were Division II, #1 in the country. And when I left, I felt like I'd done everything I could do. And so, probably the only regret I have at Sam Houston is that we didn't make the NCAA tournament. And that's probably, looking back, that's the only, we made the NIT, and not only did we make it, we won a game. And so that's the only postseason basketball win in the history of that school. But, other than that, I thought it was time, and, now we're here, and I feel like we've just built a house. We like it here a lot. It's great people. It's great basketball. And so, if I was here another 11, 12, however many years at the same place, I'd be totally fine with that. It's just kind of who I am as a person. My dad was that way.
Nice.
I think being loyal to people that give you an opportunity, you trying to be loyal to them and returning that favor and trying to work as hard as you can to make anything, the best it can be. And I guess that's just kind of who I am as a person.
Coach, well, we really appreciate you're going to stick on one more second. Man, we're really excited for New Mexico State this upcoming season. Whenever it starts, it just seems like it's never going to start because of the NCAA and everything else. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Check out Coach Hooten and the Aggies of New Mexico State. And thanks for joining us again. We'll be back next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.